I gave it a spark. And now you wanna try and kick me out of the park. Well, I ain't going quiet, I'm saying it loud. My mission is to stop you and completely shut you down.
Smack, runner, you're nothing but lies. Smack, runner, with weak alibis. Smack, runner, your game is through. Smack, runner, I'm talking to you.
Is like the garbage that gets sent to the dump. You and your whole crew are nothing more than some chumps. It's time to take you out and kick you straight to the curb. My mission is to silence you and keep the game pure.
Smack, runner, you're nothing but lies. Smack, runner, with weak alibis. Smack, runner, your game is through. Smack, runner, I'm talking to you.
Your skills are weak and incomplete, it's really a joke to think you can get over me without getting smoked. It's time to shut you down and expose your game. My mission is to take you down and level the plane.
Smack, runner, you're nothing but lies. Smack, runner, with weak alibis. Smack, runner, your game is through. Smack, runner, I'm talking to you.
Inconsistencies will always keep you on the run. Your cowardice and greed will always take away your fun. Yeah, I ain't backing down, so you should know this fact. My mission is to stop you and erase your smack.
Smack, runner, you're nothing but lies. Smack, runner, with weak alibis. Smack, runner, your game is through. Smack, runner, I'm talking.
Welcome back to The Truth is Viral Live, folks. My name is Bob Powell. Hope you don't mind if I kind of relax a little bit. It's been a hectic week. You guys have no idea. But anyway, it's Red Friday. Hope you wore your red shirt today to remember everybody deployed. That's a really good thing to do. I mean, it doesn't take any effort at all. Just show your solidarity with our men and women who are in harm's way on foreign shores. Wear a red shirt. Not hard at all. Okay. So we're going to hear from, before I get to the good part, I want to share with you a little experience that I had today. I had a lot of fun. when I visited the Alpena News. Poor little girl at the front counter. Scared to death. I don't know why. I swear, I'm really the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet, truly. I guess I must cut some kind of an imposing figure or something. So. But anyway, had some business to conduct there at the Alpena News. And tomorrow, everybody's going to see it. And I don't mind gloating just a little bit, because this took some work. They never should have picked with somebody that studies military history, or picked on somebody that studies military history. Like, I'm the wrong guy. Okay. The Battle of Cannae, some people say, in the Second Punic War. Hannibal suckered the Roman troops into battle on a battlefield of his choosing. He put what looked like his weakest troops in the center of his formation, right? Made it look like it would be easy to attack and destroy. But what the Romans didn't see were 2 regiments of cavalry that ran around the flanks, decimated the Roman cavalry, and then enveloped their rear. I think like 60,000 Romans died that day. One of the most brilliant military victories of all time, and I copied it in this. And they fell for it. And I don't mind saying it now because it's done. You folks, let me tell you something. It's only gonna get better. But while I was there, I was reminded of this Nietzsche quote. Because literally, I'm there in the belly of the beast as far as the local deep state patent place bought and paid for news goes. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. Because if you gaze long enough into the abyss, it eventually is going to gaze back at you. I've gazed in the abyss. I've seen the evil that people do. No, thank you. I try to avoid it at all costs, but I can't now. Okay? The safety of my children is on the line. The safety of my family. I can't trust it to a man like Stephen Kieliszewski. I want to read to you something here that I wrote. It's my official endorsement of Terry King for Sheriff of Alpena County. Let's pull her up here. Can I actually show that? No, because it's already formatted for something else. I'll just have to read it. Is that okay? My family's been taking a lot of abuse because of my support for Terry King, and for that I apologize. But I'm doing it for them. because it's the right thing to do. I want my kids and my grandkids to grow up in the paradise. This place is beautiful. Where I met their mom, and not some political cesspool where only the connected receive justice or get off because of their connections. Stephen Kieliszewski's a bad man and a bad sheriff. One does not get to pick and choose which laws to enforce when one wears a badge. Yet he's done this repeatedly. Kieliszewski put my family in danger by allowing a lunatic who proved that he had malicious intent to harm us when he flew 2,300 miles and then drove another 3 hours to my home so that he could deliver a tainted pizza because I didn't like something I said on the internet. Kieliszewski let him go scot-free, even after he had more than enough evidence to convict him on a 15-year felony. The dude admitted his crime on Twitter. He uploaded video of the delivery that he took. Kieliszewski had all this evidence and did nothing. He put others in danger too, because that lunatic is a millionaire. He uses his fortune to fly around the country harassing and assaulting anybody that he chooses. All Kieliszewski had to do to make sure that that lunatic got locked away was forward that report, the report that he took, that his deputies took, along with the evidence that they gathered, to the Alpena County prosecutor or to the FBI. Now, I don't know why he didn't do his duty. I can only speculate, but it doesn't make any difference. Whether he didn't forward the report out of incompetence, out of spite, just because he doesn't like me, or for some other reason, the fact is that he failed me. He failed my family. He's failed other local families as well. In one case, with almost fatal consequences when an inmate at the jail hung himself because Kieliszewski ignored numerous requests for mental health treatment. Who saved that boy's life? It was Terry King. You know, I hear these stories all the time. They're just literally pouring in. Above all, a sheriff has to be trustworthy. After all, he's in charge of keeping the entire community safe. I do not trust Stephen Kieliszewski with the safety of my family, friends, and neighbors. He's proven that he's unfit to be Alpena County Sheriff, and he has to go. It's as simple as that. On the other hand, I do trust Terry King with my life and the lives of my kids. Every time I had an issue to take care of at the Alpena County Sheriff's Office, Terry was going to be the one to address it. Stephen was too busy, you see. When my mom and my wife died a few months apart in 2015, Terry was one of the few people outside of my family that reached out to see if I was okay. That's not an unusual story, folks. For every bad story that I've heard about Terry King, some that are provably false, like those coming out of Bob Reed's mouth, freaking liar, I've collected 10 good ones. Many of his DARE students are leading productive lives because of him, and they're being very vocal about it. Even if they relapse as adults, who's there for them? Rooting them on to sobriety, Terry King. So again, I apologize to my family for the threats and insults to which they've been subjected. They come from weak people. They need to remember that. Cowards that don't have the guts to tell me what they think in my face. So they come after my kids, thinking that my kids might be weak. Boy, they're in for a surprise. But I will not back down from my support of Terry King for Alpena County Sheriff, not one iota. He's a good man and deserves whatever support that we can give him. I'm fully invested in this fight, and I promise you, this is one time that good is going to triumph over evil. You can believe that. It's going to be a hard battle, but we're going to win it, so hold on. You need to vote for Terry King for sheriff on August 4th at the primary. Okay, I promised you some interviews tonight. We are going to hear from Alpena County Sheriff Stephen Kieliszewski. These two candidates for sheriff are going to tell us where they stand on Governor Whitmer's executive orders. But first, let me get this up here. Oh, yeah. We're going to hear from my preferred candidate for sheriff, Terry King. I have already dubbed him the next Alpena County. I spoke with Terry, I guess last month already, maybe 2 months ago, when the first round of executive orders came to pass, and we had a good conversation. He was my guest on 97.7 WCHY. I sometimes host a show over there in Sheboygan called Your Defending Fathers. If I'm not there, my brother from another mother, Andy Bishop, is at the helm from 9 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. It's a great show. I have heard that there are places on the Sunrise side where you can pick it up. So check that out, Monday through Friday, 9 till noon on 97.7 WCHY in Sheboygan. Okay, are we ready? This is my conversation with Terry King just a couple months ago.
How you doing? What show are we on?
Truth is viral.
The truth is viral, people. So take 2 penicillins and call me in the morning.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
Every time I hear this song, I think about Hulk Hogan coming down to WrestleMania. It's the steel cage. What's going to do when these pythons run all over you, brother? Well, welcome back to Your Defending Fathers. My name is Bobby Powell on WCHY 97.7 in Sheboygan, Michigan. And you can find us online at yourdefendingfathers.com. And I'm hearing some stuff. Hey, I want to talk to Terry King. He's a Republican candidate for sheriff in Alpena County. Hopefully he's on the line with me. Terry, are you there?
I am. Good morning, Bobby.
Oh, outstanding. Okay, folks, this is my man. This is my boy, Terry King. And as I was telling you before the break, I trust this guy. I have trusted him from the moment I met him. He just exudes confidence and trust. It just always happens. And so that's why I'm just going to say it now. I'm supporting Terry King for sheriff of Alpena County come November. It's just that simple. I'm going to do everything I can to get him elected. And today we're going to talk to him about his feelings about these laws, these restrictions under this lockdown that Governor Whitmer has put upon us. And you remember how a few months ago we were talking about red flag laws and talking about guns and people coming to get your guns. Well, Terry has expanded the definition of red flag laws to include those that Governor Whitmer is trying to shove down our throats, and he's joining those other 4 Michigan sheriffs that I just told you about in saying that this is just tyranny and it needs to go. So, Terry, tell us in your own words, what do you feel about this lockdown? Is the governor just being a tyrant? Has she absolutely lost her mind? What's going on?
You know, we have to keep our children, our elderly safe, but I don't agree with her red flag laws as far as I'm able to take a family member and jump on my side-by-side and go down a trail for a couple hours and go out in the back 40 and have a good time. But I can't use that same family member and jump in a power boat and go fishing, which in that case,
interfere.
well, that's my time. You know, so, and there's other things that I I just totally disagree with our governor as far as the restrictions that she's putting on us. And I am grateful that the sheriff on the west side of our state, and Leelanau, Benzie, Manistee, and Mason counties that you mentioned previously, and even Presque County, Joe Brubaker, he came their constitutional rights. And I agree with them. And I wish more sheriffs, and I think it's growing by the day, but I wish more sheriffs would come forward with that idea.
Okay, that's excellent. Now, can you tell my viewers, or I'm not on the Truth is Viral. I'm on Your Defending Father. So I don't have any viewers. I've got listeners. Okay, but tell them about the power of the sheriff. Like, for example, if a federal agency were to come into Alpena County, they would need to get your permission in order to, or the sheriff's permission in order to conduct a raid or whatnot. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I cannot fathom that would happen in any county. The sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer in the county, and that's a constitutional position. He is the supreme law of the land. And we need to be with our citizens and stand shoulder to shoulder with our citizens and back them. Sheriff has a constitutional right to uphold the law. We have to enforce the law in unincorporated areas of our county, but we still have to be a sheriff for the citizen. And that is something I've always advocated. And I will stand behind that 100%.
Amen. And that's one of the reasons that I love you so much, Terry, because you're a man of your word and you do what you say. Now, on the other hand, we've got Sheriff Steve Kieliszewski. In 2015.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yep.
I'm here. If you can't hear me, never fear. I will call you right back. But in 2015, I took a concern to Sheriff Steve Kieliszewski of Alpena County, and that concern was a plaque or a little sign. The sign's put up all the way around the fence out at the Alpena County Airport, which is also the Alpena Combat Readiness Training Center. And it says, no photography of military aircraft allowed. Okay, I took this concern. Yep. I took this concern to the sheriff. I pointed out to him that in the 6th District Court case, Toledo Blade versus the United States, the federal court ruled that if you can see it from an area where you are allowed to be, you can take a picture of it. So I took this concern to the sheriff because the sheriff's department is in charge of security, at least at the time they were, at the airport.
Correct.
And he said, I'll look into it. Now, just a couple of months ago, when I went to ask him about his support of the Second Amendment sanctuary proposal that we had going, I asked him if he had ever done anything about that. And he could not even remember our conversation.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I can't really speak for him.
Oh, no, of course not. And I didn't expect you to. I just was pointing out the difference between the two of you. He couldn't even remember our conversation. And when my wife died, you were one of the few people that asked me if I was okay. So it's a good thing I recorded that. Bobby, so. Okay, well, that's okay. It's a good thing I recorded that conversation with Sheriff Kieliszewski, because that's going to be and I recorded it with his permission too. So that's going to be a great little segment of The Truth is Viral. Can I record this conversation? Well, sure you can, Bob. And then 2 seconds later, mine. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember having that conversation. Oh man. So Terry,
well, unfortunately, like I said, I can't comment on his lack of knowledge or memory. It doesn't surprise me though. I'm going to be as positive as I can. I'm not going to say anything negative about it because I don't believe in that type of campaigning. I'm basically just going to tell the public what I'm going to do, what I've always done, what I'll continue to do in support of them and be a sheriff for the people. That's exactly what I'm about, and that's what I'll stand for. And as far as the photographer that was happening, I know that at one point in time we were getting a lot of pressure from the Air Force as far as, citizens taking pictures of the airplanes. They just didn't want it to happen.
Probably
and they were trying to protect their assets. But at the same time, I totally agree with you, Bobby. Highway, they didn't want you parking there for safety reasons. And if you happen to drive by and take a couple pictures, half mile down the tarmac, it happens. There's not much that we can do about that. It's not like we're going to confiscate the camera, destroy the film, or whatever. You have a legal right to do that. But unfortunately, I understand, too, where the government's coming from as far as trying to protect their assets. And Bobby, you're breaking up again. I can't hear you. So
yeah, well, that's okay. We'll keep muddling through. That's what we do: improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly,
so when you become sheriff, what are your top priorities going to be?
My top priority is constitutional to their benefit. Still enforce the law. I have to. I can't be blind with that. I think some of the sheriffs surrounding Alpena County will feel the same way. We're just going to do our job and do it correctly. I think for the most part, we have good employees at the sheriff's office here in Alpena, as the surrounding counties. We have good road deputies. We have good. We need to also treat people like humans, not like criminals or savages in some cases. Even if they act up, we have to still treat them respectably, and that is always going to be a goal of mine. I want to reenact or restate a comment that you made earlier, is that you're going to support me for the November election. Actually, I need everyone's support in Alpena County for August 4th, because the current sitting sheriff and I, and come August 4th, it's either him or me, and then we're done. So I just want the people of the Alpena County to realize that August 4th is the critical date. I need people to go out and vote.
Okay, thank you.
After that, it's we're done. It's a shoe-in.
Yeah. Okay.
Opposing me come November.
Right, I want to say again. I know what he said because I know what he was going to say, but I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it, and so therefore my listeners didn't hear it. So I will repeat what he just said. Sheriff Kieliszewski and Terry King are both Republicans. The primary is August 4th, and that is the day when the vote matters. And because come November, I guess whoever the Republican nominee is going to be a shoo-in, because there is no Democrat. Okay, thank you, Terry King, so much for being on the show, and God bless you, brother. Good luck. And
appreciate your support, and I wish you well, keep well, your family well, and everyone else who's listening. Godspeed you, and I'm thinking of everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, Terry. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later, bro.
Take care. Yeah, bye.
I'm Pete Santilli, and you're watching The Truth is Viral.
Do not click away. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Okay, so yeah, that's how Terry King's going to roll. He's going to stand with the citizens, and I believe him, and I trust him. Yeah, I just remembered this. Years ago, I went to the Alpena County Sheriff's Department and the county commission, and I told them, the county needs a plan in case something goes haywire. Who showed up? Not the sheriff. Stupid. That'd be Terry King. He's the guy that showed up. And he also showed up when a local group concerned with the same problem of preparing the county, in case of a disaster. And I'm not talking about a militia now. Just like a mutual aid society. Some we need to come together to find ways to help our neighbors should help from the outside be cut off. Who was there? It wasn't the sheriff. It was Terry King. So yeah, I trust the guy. But I'm sure you'd like to hear what Sheriff Kieliszewski has to say about the governor's executive orders, wouldn't you now? Okay, now, I would like to remind you that I asked both of these gentlemen the same question at the same time. This was almost 2 months ago. In fact, the date was 5/20/2020. So, yeah, 2 months and 4 days ago. This was before I even knew that Sheriff Kieliszewski had not reported that assault on me, that felony assault. Okay, so there was no bad blood on my part. As far as I knew, we had a perfectly cordial working relationship. Would you guys like to see how Sheriff Kieliszewski responded? You're going to like this. Hi, Bob. Thank you for reaching out with this request. Here's my statement at this time. The Alpena County Sheriff's Office is working hard to stay updated on the current status of Governor Whitmer's executive orders. As sheriff, the health and safety of our citizens and staff is my number one priority. We will continue to work with other law enforcement agencies as well as city and county officials as the crisis continues to evolve. Regards, Stephen. How's that for a non-response? I'm sorry for the technical glitches there, folks. I'm a one-man band. Did you know that, like for example, at WBKB, it takes 4 people to do what I'm doing right now? I'd like to get some feedback. How does the show look? How does it sound? Okay, here I am on my deck. It's a beautiful Michigan summer night. Got the citronella candle burning back there, with the American flag motif, of course. And I'm sprayed down with bug spray. Hey, it's northern Michigan. If I wasn't, I would be being carried away by the state bird. But this guy here. Oh, that guy there. Yeah. He's a bad dude. Bad sheriff. No donut. Matter of fact, I'd like to read for you something that was sent to me today. It's a heartbreaking letter from the mother of a man that was an inmate at the Alpena County Jail. She says, "Let me begin by saying that I'm not proud of what my son has done, and neither is he. He's currently serving time in prison and is paying for his crimes that he committed. Instead of using my son's name, I'm going to refer to him as X. Once I tell this story, there will be people that know who I am talking about. I hope people will not say his name." At 11:30 on January 5th, 2020, I received a phone call. The gentleman on the other end said, "Hi, this is Eric from the ICU unit at Mid-Michigan of Alpena. I'm calling to let you know that what our game plan is for X today." My response was, where are you calling from? And all he said was that you must not be aware that X is in the ICU unit. Of course I wasn't aware he was in the ICU unit. The last I knew, he had been arrested and was in the county jail. All I kept asking myself is, what did he do now? Eric from ICU explained to me that he was brought up from the emergency room because he had overdosed in jail, that he had died in the emergency room, but that they had brought him back. I told Eric that we would be right there, but we were told that we could not see him because he was in police custody, and the police said no visitors, so there was no reason to come to the hospital. Well, we went anyway. We are the parents. What did they think that we were going to do? Sit home? When we arrived, we were led into the ICU unit, but we were not allowed into X's room. The sheriff's deputy stood at the room like we were going to bum rush in there and break him out. We got to see him from the hallway with all the machines and tubes hooked up to him. We were told he was in a coma and all of his vitals were stable. After an hour of trying to communicate with the deputy and the jail, we were still not able to just sit with him. So unfortunately, we went home, but we did call 3 to 4 times a day. The nurses in ICU were caring and understanding and stated that they knew where we were coming from because they were parents too, and they would want to be with their child if it was them. We were told by the nurses that X had coded, died on the table, in the emergency room twice. At one point, all of his organs were shutting down, but then they were doing better. X remained in the hospital for 2 days. Still unaware of what happened to my son, I requested a meeting with Sheriff Kieliszewski to find out what had happened and to find out why I was never notified when my son faced this life and death situation. On January 8th, 2020, I met with Kieliszewski and Jail Administrator Scott Gagnon. My reason for this meeting was to find out why I was not contacted when my son was being transported to the hospital, since I am his emergency contact at the jail. Both Kieliszewski and Gagnon said that my son was incoherent, so that he could not give permission for them to contact me. And because of HIPAA laws and also for the safety of the hospital and jail staff, they felt that they could not contact me. I asked them, if someone is in a car accident and is incapacitated, then you don't contact their family so they can be at the hospital? Their only response is that this is a different scenario. Both kept stating that X couldn't give them permission, so they didn't call. Imagine my frustration. They just sat there nonchalantly like this was an everyday occurrence. Talk about upsetting. I felt like I was getting the runaround and not even getting straight answers from either one of them. And then X gets out of the hospital and he starts talking to corrections officers and deputies who are on duty. This is the story from deputies, COs, and X. There were a few days before there was any contact between X and I because after you do something wrong, they put you in the hole and you cannot have any contact with anyone. but that's a whole other story. I think I finally talked to my son on January 16th of 2020. Here is what transpired before he ended up in the hospital. On January 4th, 2020, my son was stopped by the state police. While he was being stopped, he ingested some street drugs so he would not be charged with possession of drugs. On the scene, X informed the troopers that he had ingested those drugs. After the arrest, the troopers took X to the county jail. Not sure who all was on duty at the time that X was being booked into the county jail, but one of the COs was Tony Gabinski. After my son arrived at the jail, he informed the COs that he had taken drugs and that he was ODing. The COs asked if he really did, and X said, "Nah, I'm just playing, man." A half hour later, X's cellmate got the attention of a CO and let them know that something was wrong with X. They assessed the situation and noticed that X was not doing good. X just kept saying, "I'm effing ODing, man. Get me to the hospital." Jail personnel moved him to the front and called the jail nurse, who told them to give him a series of medications to counteract the overdose. X laid in the room next to the CO station for 45 minutes, convulsing, as it was described to this woman that wrote the letter, flopping like a fish, vomiting and telling them over and over, "I'm effing dying, get me to the hospital." When the COs realized the medication wasn't working, they asked the deputy who was there to take X to the hospital, and his comment was, "F no, I don't need him to get sick in my car." Finally, they called an ambulance who took X to the hospital. At the hospital, X flatlined twice. He was then stabilized and finally taken to ICU. Also, I was told that X did tell jail personnel to call me, who I am his emergency contact, which they never did. Remember, in my first meeting with Kieliszewski and Gagnon, they said that he was incoherent and never said to call me. On January 17th, 2020, I met with Kieliszewski, Gagnon, Undersheriff Smith, and CO Tony Gabinski. Gabinski explained the whole situation of what happened. I asked Gabinski if X told him to call me, and he said that he did request for me to be called, but he had to ask his commanding officer for permission. I asked Gabinski who his commanding officer was, and did you ask him for permission to call me? Gabinski said that his commanding officer was Gagnon, and that he did ask if he could call me, and Gagnon told him no. I just remember Gagnon said that X couldn't speak to give permission. I looked at Gagnon and said, "Now you told me he was incoherent and couldn't give permission. Now I'm finding out he did give permission, and you denied your corrections officer permission to call me while my son was laying there dying." Gagnon stated, "I was looking out for the welfare of jail staff, hospital staff, and X's well-being." What a load of S, this mother writes. He was in a coma. Kieliszewski just sat there and didn't know what to say. Kieliszewski should have fired him on the spot for not doing his job properly or running the jail properly. Then I asked Gabinski about the deputy stating that he would not take X to the hospital because he was vomiting. Gabinski said that he did say that, so they waited for an ambulance. All Kieliszewski said was that he didn't know anything about it and would have to look into it. Kieliszewski lets some questionable treatment of inmates happen at his jail, and then acts like he knows nothing about what's going on. How can he be the sheriff and not know what is happening in his jail? Yes, my son was more than a handful at the jail while he was there, but he deserved to be treated like a human being when this happened to him. All the inmates deserve to be treated like human beings. Just ask anyone who has sat there for an extended period of time, and they will say the same thing that I am saying. They are treated like shit, and I'm sure the sheriff knows it all. Wow. Now, I know for a fact that Sheriff Kieliszewski doesn't follow through on anything. I'm going to cut this short because I know people don't like to watch long videos. But I'm going to tell you folks about all of his failings because people are coming out of the woodwork left and right begging to tell their stories. And I'm going to do nothing but produce short little videos with those stories from now until the election day on August 4th, primary. You make sure that you get out there, folks. And you vote. I think it was Plato that said that people that don't take an interest in their government are doomed to be governed by fools. Don't be foolish. What I need you to do is share The Truth is Viral everywhere you go. Put it on your personal Facebook timeline. Put it in all the groups to which you belong. Send it to your friends via private message. On your phone, an SMS message, through email, smoke signals, whatever you got. I do not mind taking point. I do not mind taking the risk that for the next 4 years, the sheriff of this county is going to hate me. I'm going to have a target on my back. I don't care. It's the right thing to do. My God, if more people would stand up and do the right thing, we wouldn't have so much bullshit in our world. I mean, how hard is it to tell the truth? I mean, it's really easy. I learned a long time ago. Dude, I was married for 28 years. I know that honesty is literally the best policy. Unless your wife asks if her ass looks fat in these jeans. Discretion is the better part of valor, my friends. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell. Don't forget, if you have the ability, go to bobpowell.blogspot.com, hit that PayPal button or click the link in the description below and support our mission of saving lives and winning souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days. I need a new computer. I want to take your phone calls. We're going to make The Truth is Viral the #1 program in the state. You watch. And, yeah, buddy, let's go.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook, and if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.